Welcome to How Not to Make Comics. What is this, 5? Something like that. I'm Nil Gravity, and before we get into it, I want to bring up that issue number 7 of Cyberpunks is out on drive-thru. It'll soon be on Comixology. This one's, I'm pretty proud of this one. It's based on a true story. Or what was a true story, and then I added it into the world of Cyberpunks. So we get to see what a politician with cybernetics looks like in this one. And some of you might be familiar with who it's based on. Alright. So go check that out. Alright, so, anyways, the last time I said I was going to talk about 24-hour comics, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The 24-hour comic is the creation of Scott McCloud. He, the idea of it is that you create a comic from start to finish, finish being a relative term, within 24 hours. It's like the Everest of comic making. I screwed up several attempts at mine, and I've had some pretty successful ones, so we'll go over that. And first up, this was the menu, or well, actually it still is the menu on my website if you can find it, so I don't know, I still like it, and it has my little certificates from participating in the official events. I was at the first 2 official events, well, the first 2 nationwide official ones or whatever, for 24-hour Comics Day, and I actually made the comic we're going to look at today is one I made from the previous year. I had read Scott McCloud's book and I tried it, and then like the next year they did an official one, so it was a little oh, it's kind of interesting. It used to be back in April. Oh yeah, that's right. They used to have 24-hour Comic Day used to be in April, but it was too close to Free Comic Day, and so they moved it to October. So we'll get started on this. When I say you're supposed to come up with the comic start to finish, that includes, ideally, you have no idea what you're going to do ahead of time, and on this one, I knew I was going to do it on a particular weekend, and so I was all set. And on Friday, I woke up at 5 in the morning. That was what time I got up to go to work. And I immediately knew what I wanted to do. And so, like, being a little too literal to the rules, I was like, oh man. Well, I should start counting now, because I know what I'm going to do, and I'll work on the story at work, you know, and then as soon as I get home, I'll start it, you know, because I worked for my grandpa, and basically my work was packing, so it was like real easy for me to do kind of mindless things. So, anyways, the inspiration for the story was Neil Gaiman's Murder Mysteries. In there, the different angels talk about their aspects, and so that gave me the idea, what if the characters in the tarot were, like, existed on some kind of plane? And then, yeah, that just kind of led into the story. So, we see the hangman, and then somebody comes up behind him, draws a sword, and he's like asleep. Then he opens his eyes. Obviously, I'm just telling you what you're seeing now. Yeah, I tried to keep it simple because by the time I got home, it was after 5 o'clock. So I'd been up for 12 hours when I started this. And I still got the idea I could do it in 24 hours. I mean, I am, like, in my art school, I was known for being really fast, and so, and so I am fast, and I thought I was going to work in a loose enough style, and I wasn't going to ink the comic, so I was like, okay, I can do this, but yeah, so we'll see how close I get. Alright, so I like this. He lands on his head, rolls over. Yeah, I don't know. I have some storytelling chops. I'm sloppy in everything I am. It's terrible. Usually what I do in my lettering stage, I drop blocks over it in Illustrator, so that way they're square. You know, for my gutters, and so I just make white blocks and put it over that. So that's my little trick for covering my always off measurements. Okay. So basically, what's going on here is that justice is freedom, because there was a murder, and she needs him to, since he's the hermit, or I'm sorry, the hanged man. I keep saying the hermit. I think I said the hermit earlier. Since the hanged man is the only one that everybody knows where he was, then he's put in charge of the investigation, even though it's not really his thing. I was into tarot at the time. I since no longer believe in supernatural. Like my trees here, they're not bad trees. I just think it's kind of a funny excuse for a background. It's kind of disappointing to me when I look at my older stuff and see that my backgrounds haven't improved, even though, like, I always think, you know, I tell myself every couple of years I'm stepping up my backgrounds, and I really think I am. And then I look at my older stuff and was like, oh, I was already doing that. Here's a reverse panel, which I often like to do when I'm repeating panels. So yeah, he's just kind of talking about the math of it. We're already like halfway through this. Yeah, I did so few panels, man. I was really sure. So I wonder if there would have been more panels if I had not started when I was already up for 12 hours. Oh, it looks like I did a little bit of photoshopping after the fact. Look at that. It's like darkened here. Huh, I wonder when I did that. Or did I use a marker that was drying out? I have no idea. Or something. It looks photoshoppy to me, though. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with. And I have them with gauged earrings. I didn't know I was so aware of that. So they're just more. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about in this was the word balloons. I obviously added them later. Ooh, actually, I might have done it in my 24 hours because I've had such bad luck with scanners over the last couple of years that I've just given up on them, and it's just easier for me to go to the library once a month, scan everything I have done, and the scanners are bigger, so I don't have to like piece them together in Photoshop later. Oh yeah, so this was done on 8.5 by 11 or thereabouts because it could fit on my scanner. But anyways, yeah, so I scanned and lettered this. I should just open Illustrator and show you guys real quick. Let's see here. That's probably going to take forever. But yeah, what I would do to make those kind of panels is I would use the lasso tool and, I think what I would do is I would do the bucket to fill it with white. Or no, to fill it with black. And then I would reduce the size of the bucket, or of the selection, to and then hit the fill with white. And that's how I was making these at the time. But you see how the text doesn't really fit in there? Alright, I don't know if you could see that before I Illustrator loaded up over that. Alright, we'll just... I'm leery of what to open. Alright, I'm just going to open a new one. Alright, new. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so what you do with... Alright, if you're using Illustrator, and there's other programs that are similar, but, okay, so this, I'm selecting Alt to make it do that. I reuse the same panel over and over. Okay, so I'm going to select that point, and I'm going to do this. Well, I guess I can do it with this arrow. Yeah, I reuse the same balloons all the time. So, and I'm not the best at this, but it's better. So what you do is you drag the point to where it's like over the point over there, so it's kind of... Oh, I did that in an angle. Okay. Make that square. Alright. Yeah, so you do it to where it's like right underneath the side points. And there you go. Alright, and then oh wow, that... Okay, this thing's huge. Alright, and then I'm just gonna center justify this so we can see what it looks like. Okay. That might not have actually worked the way I hoped it did. It looks okay. Alright. I'll just scale this up, it'll be easier. Alright, so I just wrote... Oh, that... Anyways, if you look at this, you can now see that the text fits much better, because text is sort of blocky. And, yeah, so it just looks a lot better in there. Especially when you're writing dialogue. What I always try to do is work it so that way the first and last are the shortest, and then the middle ones, or the middle length, are, yeah, so the longest sentences are in the middle, and the shortest are the front and the top and the bottom. So that way, the letters are you don't have all this empty space where there's a curve. It just the shorter word is inside the curve. So it just, I think it looks better. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have the best eye. Oh, and then what I do, and then the other thing you can do here is, I've had bad experience with, you can add points onto this and then pull a point out. I think that tends to look bad, and it makes it hard to move it around. So what I like to do, I find this easier. What I do is I just make another, I make the tail a separate shape, and then I put up another block that doesn't have an outline on it. Alright. See? And that's how you get a much better word balloon. Yeah, so there was another aspect of this I was going to explain. Oh yeah, I remember. The other reason I do it like this, instead of, alright, I'll copy this. Alright. I hope this is interesting, because it's a major detour. It's from what we're supposed to be talking about. So what I was saying earlier is you can add points. So you can use this and add one here and like one here, and then just select that point and then move the nodes in. There you go, and you have a little sassy. Yeah, so that's not a terrible way to do it. The only problem is if you try to curve the tail to fit, so you don't cover something up in the art or something, it can cause a lot of weird, annoying things. And then the other thing about doing it my way with the multiple pieces, and you can group those too, but the other thing that's nice about it is it makes it really easy to join two balloons or more, because then all you have to do is put them near each other. Okay. Look at that. And if you want to do something really crazy, that's easy too, because I could do something like this. Okay. It's not my favorite thing to do because it's not. Alright. This is going to look semi-bad, but you'll see what it's going to look awful. But I'm making a point. So, okay. Alright. So if you have to combine someone's speech balloons from two different panels, or I don't know, you just have a lot of dialogue that you had to break up. It's the same deal. You just do some weird shape to connect them, and then grab the wrong thing. Okay. And I was holding down my. Alright. This is becoming a shit show real fast. Alright. Okay, so that gives you a rough idea. See, it does like the same thing. So, okay, so that's what I wanted to show you there. And no, I do not want to save that, because it is dumb. Probably I should remake the word balloons I did, because I made them so long ago. And if someone doesn't have Illustrator, I can show an Inkscape later, comment or whatever, and I'll do that at some point. Alright, so anyways, you can see how badly the text fits in here because I just used the lasso tool to make these word balloons. And you can see here, now what I would do now is I would move the word tower onto the next line. And the text is left justified. It says center justified. Yeah. So I mean, some of these things are because it was because I was in a hurry. In theory, I think I started doing the lettering and stuff when I would get stuck. I'm not sure because I went through this a couple times today when I was moving when I moved it over to Comic Fury, and the writing seemed pretty solid. I didn't really read it entirely. Yeah, so here's my design for the devil. I remember specifically that I wanted him to have kind of different horns. I didn't want to just do the horns out of the top. This is my attempt. I've never been great at character design, and this is my attempt to be making kind of a shystery guy. I like the story enough to where I have put some serious thought into like inking this digitally or something. I still have the original artwork. I could probably ink it regularly. I don't know how faded it is. So, I don't know why I was breaking the border. You know, I kind of wonder if I didn't actually make this in 2003, if I made it earlier. Because, I graduated art school in 2003. So, I don't know, there's things in here that make me wonder. But I was tired, so that could explain a lot of it. Look how skewed this is. I wish I could say the skewed panels were because I was tired, but it's because I'm an idiot when it comes to measuring things. I like this joke. He's saying to keep the sword at the back of the devil. Oh yeah, there was something back here. I think it was on this page. Oh yeah, so he says in here, because the greatest sin is getting caught. I actually got that from, my dad went to Catholic school, and when he was a kid, he was in, I don't know if it was regular church or if it was actually part of Catholic school, now I think of it. But anyways, the preacher had said that getting caught is the worst sin, and his point was that God's always going to catch you or whatever. But I don't know, I just thought it'd be a funny line for the devil, kind of. And there's definitely people who believe it, even if they won't admit they believe it. Yeah, okay, so just trucking along on the story. Oh, the reason for these weird borders at the bottom is because of my website. My website is so old, and I designed it in Illustrator, and so Illustrator only does image-based websites. So if you want links or anything like that, it has to chop the image up to do it. That's probably just a carryover. Like, you know, if I rescanned it, it wouldn't be there. In case anyone was wondering why that weird thing was. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure why there's so many shadows and stuff on this. Like I said, I must have done this the same day. Okay, alright, so we're getting pretty far into this. I did not finish in the 24 hours. I ended up falling asleep. I think around this point. I think I made it is either page 16 or 19 or something like that. I fell asleep. And then I just, there's a couple variations of the 24-hour comic. You can either be like, okay, 24 hours is up, I'm done. I only did this amount of pages, so that's all the pages you're getting. And then the other way to do it is that you just take more time and finish it. So in this one, I did that. I think I was even trying to finish in... I think I was trying to do, you know, just figure that it'd be 24 hours, and then, you know, I just kind of kept, you know, bargaining with myself, like, okay, alright, it won't be 24 hours since I got the idea, you know, and then it was, alright, it'll, you know, like, I forget what other justifications I made, but I was just so exhausted that, you know, it didn't work. So, alright, yeah, so, oh, okay, I wanted to point out that I had his eyeball pop out of his head from the impact, because the murder weapon, was the tower. The fool got pushed off the tower, that's how he died. And then, well, he's pushed with a sword, so. Alright, wait a second. Is this page screwed up? Wait. Oh, crap. I'm gonna use this interface in a minute. Okay. I kind of wonder if the page almost seems out of order. Oh well. Oh yeah, here's another example. I think this might have... I don't remember if this is partially a time thing, or just like a bad design thing. You know, because what I could have done was drawn like a bunch of swords and different styles and done like, you know, some graphic design, but I just like... this could be like a precursor of my list comic too. But I didn't quite have a graphical style yet to pull that off. Maybe we'll look at that on a... I don't know what we'd look at on this that I would do that, but I've said before, comics are great at making lists. So characters making mental lists and stuff is just like one of my little storytelling things I really like. I like this panel breakdown. He wants to think, and he's the hanged man, so he hangs upside down to think. Just like a good little character detail that I was proud of. This panel break is entirely just to convey a passage of time. I kind of messed it up by having this ponytail there, but it's... yeah, I think if I were to redo this, I would take that out, because that... I don't know, that's confusing for some reason. Yeah, so... some of these are kind of cool. One thing with it is that character design is not my strong point, and in the first place, and there's a lot of character design on the fly, because there's so many characters in this. So limiting the cast would help. Yeah, so then he basically tricks Justice into admitting that she did it. And the way he does it's pretty cool. And the devil, because he's an evil bastard, carries out the sentence. So yeah. Yeah, I really like the writing on it, and you know, a lot of my stuff, I overthink it, and then I start changing things to where it doesn't really make sense anymore, as I've discussed in previous episodes of this. Sorry. Sitting in one place too long has made me uncomfortable. So, anyways, yeah, I tend to work it, and so I think that the 24-hour limitation really helps me, because I have strong storytelling ideas and stuff. It's just when I start breaking it down, that's when I start messing with things. With that, you should go with your first instinct. So, yeah. So it's a solid little comic. That man, I'm really trying to talk myself out of wanting to rework this, because I have too many things going on as it is. So I'll just leave you at that, and the next video I will do my 2004, and we'll just keep going through all my 24-hour comics I did. So you guys can speculate as to whether or not I finished the next one on time, or what happened there, because it was an official event, so I was held accountable. Oh yeah, that's like another issue with this, is that doing a 24-hour comic by yourself is so much harder, to like stay motivated to stay awake, or at least for me. And so it's a lot easier when I can gab and stuff. But yeah, this one came out pretty well. Alright, well, until next time.